All right, hello everyone. I welcome you all to day 2 of the training sessions for Mumbai Speech and Debating League 2023, powered by Oakley and Indian Debating League. So today I'm going to show you the schedule for the day, which is going to be 25th of June. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to come exactly by 9 a.m. if you are for speech. So just remember, speech is dramatic adaptation and turncoat, and debate is WSDC. I think that's very clear as of now. So as I told you yesterday, that we're going to have 2 sessions, which is round like phase 1 and phase 2, which is like the morning sessions are going to be for speech and afternoon sessions are going to be for the debate. So we'll start. So if you're in dramatic adaptation and turncoat, you're supposed to log into the Zoom call, which is going to be shared to you like very soon. So you're supposed to log into the Zoom call at 9 o'clock so that we can take a quick roll call of all the participants. Then we will have round 1 starting from 9:30, which is going to go for 1 hour. And then we'll have round 2 starting from 11 o'clock to 12 p.m. And then round 3 is going to be from 12:30 to 1:30. Please keep yourself muted. All right. So this is for speech. For debate, you're supposed to log in at 3 p.m. And this is when we are going to take a full roll call of your team. So we'll make sure that all of the team members are present. We'll start with the first round at 3:30, which is going to run from 3:30 to 4:30. Then we're going to have round 2 at 5 o'clock, which is going to run till 6 p.m. And then for round 3, because you're going to get the side 1 hour before, so you'll get the side at 6:30. So you have a preparation time from 6:30 to 7:30, and then at 7:30 your round starts and the day ends at 8:30. If there are any doubts, particularly to the schedule, let me know. Amaya, do you have a doubt? Just keep yourself muted. I'm just gonna ask you to ask a question. Just raise your hand if you have a question. Amaya, what's your doubt?
All right. So my doubt was that when the round starts, I wanted to know, will it be so I'm for Turncoat. So will it be like I'm in the meeting with like some judges and I'll give my speech and leave?
So you will, okay, yeah. So you'll have a breakout room that you're supposed to be that you're going to be assigned, and then a judge is going to be sitting there. You're going to have around 7 to 10 people in that room, so they're all there for Turncoat. The judge will call your name, and then you're supposed to give your speech. And if you want to stay, you can stay, but if you want to leave, you can leave.
All right. So will we have like opponents or just like?
You won't have your opponents. It's just a speech event, so you just have to just speak and then go. So it's just that.
Okay, so that'll just go on for an hour.
Yeah, that depends on like what your sequence is. So if you are in the first, you just get done with it earlier than others. Okay. Wait, no, excuse me, no unmuting. Neva, what's your doubt?
Yes, ma'am, I had a doubt regarding the dramatic adaptation profile. So, ma'am, will they be given by tonight?
Yes, by 9 o'clock.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
All right, Tiana.
Yes, miss. I'm in WSDC. So for 25th, so in the morning around 9 to
you don't have to join.
I don't have to join, right?
No.
In that.
You're only
And
supposed to
one more question.
Yes.
That since our preparation will be from 6:30 to 7:30, so in that we have to like dress up like how it was you were showing in dramatic adaptation.
No. The preparation is for your speeches. So since you did not actually get whether
so
you're
like just make our debate and just write down some.
Yeah, correct. Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Gia, what's your doubt?
I just wanted to clarify. So when we're joining at 3:30, from 6:30, 7:30, there won't be a Zoom meeting. We just have to prepare for the topic that they'll give.
So if you want to stay in your breakout room, you can. Otherwise, you can just like drop off and then prepare and then join back again at 7:30.
Okay, and one question: how many people are going to be in a team?
Okay, for WSDC, you'll have 6 members present in one room, which means that your team, which is 3 people, and then against you is going to be 3 people, and then 1 judge is going to be there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Navika, what's your doubt? Navika? You're not audible.
When will the results will be announced?
We'll try to make it as soon as possible, but preferably by 26th or 27th.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. And ma'am, what's the topic for Turncoat?
You will get it by tonight, like 9 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Ashmi?
Ma'am, I had a doubt regarding I'm in WSTC. So if we do the first round, so it's like 3:30 to 4:30, and will our side be announced between that 4:30 and 5, or like directly 5?
Okay, so because let's say your round starts at 3:30, you'll get your sides by 3:15. So you'll at least have 15 minutes to know which side you are at. Okay. Advitya.
Good evening, ma'am. I had a small doubt that will we have a particular sequence that will be followed on the main day while speaking our speeches?
Yes, you will have a sequence, but in case if you have any like requests that you want to make to the judges, like whether you want to go first or like it's mostly for if you want to go first. Otherwise, everybody would want to go next, right? So yeah, I mean, it could be accommodated.
Okay, ma'am, and that sequence will be shared with us like a day
Yeah.
previous to the.
Yeah, we'll try to share it with you one day prior.
Okay, ma'am. Fine. Thank you.
Hunar, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, so we have to like the debate for the trials. Do we have to go against the motion or for the motion?
So it's going to be random for each round, but for round 1 and round 2, you will get for and against, which means that if you are for in round 1, you'll be against in round 2 and vice versa. So if you are against in round 1, you'll be for in round 2. And then round 3 is going to be completely random.
So ma'am, when you'll share the list by today night, you'll share it for each child.
The list for sides?
No, ma'am. Like you said, in round 1, we have to say for the motion.
Correct.
Ma'am, in round 2, we have to say against the motion, right?
Yes, but that's just an example. It could be the case that your team would go against in first round and then for in next round.
Okay, ma'am. So we have to prepare both of them for the
Exactly.
motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Alekhya.
Yes, ma'am. A very good evening. I am Alika Dubey. I am in dramatic adaptation. Like there might be a recording of yesterday's meeting. So
Yes.
can you please share that? Like it's not even in the group and not in the this chat. So please.
Okay, it was sent yesterday, but I'll just ping it down again.
Because I joined the group today, so I don't have any sort of earlier messages. So that's why.
I'll just ping it out again.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
No problem. Are there any more doubts? Okay, wait. Om, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, like you told that there would be different rooms for two teams individually. So means there would be room created for each team, each pair of teams.
No, the rooms are going to be in such a way that so what is WSTC? Your team goes against another team, right? So there are two teams in one room. So we will create room such a way.
Ma'am, so ma'am, we will get the link.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Navika.
Ma'am, I want to ask that is it important to stay till 1:30 in round 3?
Yes, because your judges are going to give you the verdict and they're going to give you feedback.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Shashwat.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, Dan.
Would you, although you had told us about the 3 rounds, but is it possible if you could brief us about the 3 rounds and what are gonna happen in that?
So you're in Turncoat, right? So
yeah.
You will so you'll know which room you're supposed to join. For example, you're supposed to join room 1. So at 9:30 you'll join room 1, and then as in how your sequence is being given. For example, if you're going on 5th number, so all the 4 persons before you are going to speak, and then you're supposed to give your speech at 5th. After that, if you want, you can leave the meeting. Or if you want to stay and then you want to take the feedback from the judges, you can, and that's more preferable. Which is why you would probably have to stay in probably by 10:30. After that, you can leave and have a break for half an hour, and then again the same drill. So you will know which room you're supposed to join in. Okay. All right. Are there any more questions? I would. Okay. Nirjur, what's your doubt?
Yes, ma'am. So the topic of the qualifier round of Turncoat will be given today.
Yes, by 9:30. Yes.
And on first, when will the topic be given up first?
So first,
Means
we'll get
the
the
final.
topic after we announce the results. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Advik,
Thank you.
Ma'am, in Turncoat, is it like that we have to give speech for 4 minutes and 1.5 minutes for 1.5
I
minutes
will
for
cover all of that.
again?
I will cover all of that. All right, let's start with the
Okay,
training.
ma'am.
WSDC kids, you guys can leave and then join back around 7:40 so that we can start your specific training after that. But if you want to stay back and listen to Turncoat, you can do that as well. Okay. Let's start with the Turncoat. I hope you guys remember the theme. It is about sources of education, and which is why most of the topics are going to be related to education, the problems that people face with respect to education, etc., etc. Let's start with the Turncoat speech then, and what is supposed to be done. So Turncoat, a topic will be given to each speaker, and they have to speak for both sides.
Matthew, join over there with meeting.
Could you please mute yourself? Okay. So you're supposed to speak for and against for equal amounts of time, which means that you are basically judged on the idea of whether or not you're spending equal time for and equal time against. It shouldn't be the case that you're speaking 1 minute 40 seconds for and then 1 minute 20 seconds for against, because it just shows that you're biased towards one side, or you're like one side is better prepared than the other. So for example, if the time is 4 minutes, then 2 minutes you're to speak for the motion and 2 minutes against the motion. But don't look at it because we have changed it for you. So it's going to be looking like this, okay? So yours is 4 minutes. What you're supposed to do is speak for the motion for 1 minute 30 seconds, and then against the motion for 1 minute 30 seconds, and then give introduction for 30 seconds and summarize it in 30 seconds. So somebody has to do it for me right now. The structure looks like this. I will give an introduction for 30 seconds, then I will start for the motion, speak for 1 minute 30 seconds, and then I'll go against the motion, speak for 1 minute 30 seconds, and then I'll for the next 30 seconds, I'm going to go again, summarize it and conclude it. So the structure is introduction, for, against, conclusion. I hope that is clear, because I'm going to ask you all of these questions later on in the trivia that we're going to have, okay? So what you need to remember is that divide your time in such a way and make your speech in such a way that you are on the spot with time and you're like literally hitting the mark properly, because that's again one of the ways how you're supposed to like stick to the mark in terms of method. So just make sure that you're doing that. So for example, if the topic is money cannot buy happiness, on proposition you would say yes, money cannot buy happiness, and on opposition you would say no, money can actually buy happiness, right? So I could just give you an example of how you're supposed to frame your speeches. So I could just give three arguments for why money cannot buy you happiness, and then I'll give 3 arguments as to why money can buy you happiness. And I would make sure that I have equal number of arguments or points for both sides, okay? So this is what I would make sure, like I would try to keep it as equitable as possible, and then I'll also try to make my conclusion as neutral and a balance for both for and against. I see a couple of hands being raised up. I would ask, okay, Harshini, what's your doubt?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
My doubt is that in the conclusion, are we basically telling that this is the right thing and this is the wrong thing? Are we basically doing that?
No, you're just supposed to, in conclusion, you're supposed to give a balance. So for example, the motion is money cannot buy you happiness. So the balance between that would be like, although money can buy you some materialistic happiness, but money cannot possibly buy things like mental health, things like emotional well-being, things like friendship, etc. Which is why we should make a balance between both, and we shouldn't completely rely on money for every kind of happiness or every kind of gratification that we seek for. So what you did here in the 30 seconds is just made a balance between why money can and why money cannot actually give you that kind of happiness. You're just making a balance in the 30 seconds. You're not basically taking a side. You're just being neutral and saying that, yeah, I mean, yes, money is good and money is sometimes bad as well. But what you're supposed to do as a person is just make sure in your mind that like money is not all over your head and you're not overwhelmed with money and stuff like that. So this is how you could conclude it.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Shreyansh, what's your doubt?
Miss?
Rayan, go on.
Miss, I just joined, so have you started WSDC or not?
No, we will start WSDC at 7:40. So join back again.
Okay.
Okay. Tripti, what's your doubt?
So for the turncoat thing, we have 4 minutes, right?
Yes.
So for 30 seconds, we'll have a speech. Then for 1 minute, 30 seconds, we'll have both of the for and against. And then what's the last 30 seconds?
Conclusion.
Conclusion. What would we be doing in the conclusion?
So conclusion, you're just making a balance between both for and against. I just give you an example of, for example, if the topic is money cannot buy you happiness, you would say, yes, money can sometimes buy you happiness, but money cannot buy you certain things such as emotional well-being, mental health, or even for that matter, just like friendship, which is why you shouldn't completely depend on money. So you're just making a neutral stance, an observation, and you're not taking one side.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Harneek, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, so like in the introduction, will you just be introducing your topic and your name, or will you say something?
So in introduction, you're introducing the topic. So the same example I'm going to take. So if the example is money cannot buy you happiness, you would probably give some rhetorics about money and happiness. I would probably use some quotes. I would basically give just a general background of the topic, and then I'll start with why I support and why I'm against this. Okay, Ruta.
Yes, ma'am. For the introduction, can we include something based on the Hydra snare also?
Yeah, for sure, you can.
Thank you.
All right, Anush.
Yes, ma'am. So for Turncoat, we'll have to give a speech where we will be not like spoken. The judges will not speak in between, like to change our stance from for to against.
No,
or
they won't
versa.
change it. For qualifiers, we haven't made it this way. We might, yeah. So it's just yeah, go on. Yeah, so it's for qualifiers, we have given you the time limit. It's not going to be that judges are going to bell you and then tell you that switch your side, okay?
Okay. Okay, so like it's a complete speech and will not be interrupted in between.
No, you won't be interrupted.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Divyanshi.
Yeah, hi, good evening, ma'am. I simply wish to ask this question that is it extremely important for us to strictly adhere to the time limit that is being allotted for the for section and against? Like suppose, let us say I speak in for 2 minutes and 10 seconds and I speak against for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So is
Yes,
that going to
it
be...
is strictly important for you to stick to the time limit. As I said, it's like one of the criteria for marking you is whether or not you're sticking to the time limit. And also the idea behind Turncoat is that you're supposed to turncoat, which means that you're supposed to have equal attention being given to both sides. So you cannot just like speak more for one side. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Chirag.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that are we going to have to rehearse our speech or can we like say it while looking at the words?
Okay, so I would suggest that remember and by heart your speech. But in case if you're struggling with that, just have reference sheets so that you can just like refer to it. But do like try to make sure that you're making as much eye contact with the judges because that has scores too.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, Anush, do you have another doubt, or it's just the hand?
No, I'm sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, the next tip that I'm going to give you for Turncoat is that whenever you're switching from for to against, you're supposed to make it creative and you're supposed to make it in such a way that you catch attention from the judges. It shouldn't be like, hey, I have stopped for the motion now, and now I'm going to switch to against the motion, because it's very just boring, right? It's just very plain. You would want to make it interesting. So some people could and that interesting part has scores. So your transition has scores. So what would you want to do for that is that, for example, some people might say, panel, forget everything that I said till now. I do not quite know what possessed me for the last 2 minutes, right? So you're basically just contradicting your entire self and you're saying that, listen, whatever I said in the last few minutes, that's not what I actually believe in. What I believe in is actually against. So it's basically a good way to like get attention. But since I gave you the example, don't try to stick with that. Probably come up with different ways. So you can probably also start with, and as I think I probably gave this example yesterday. So for example, my last point is basically in money can not buy you happiness. My last point is that, hey, you cannot have good friends because money cannot buy you like friends in general, right? Because they are connections that you build up after a really long time period, right? But then I can be like, but wait a second, do you guys know that if you have more money, you have more ability to attract more friends? And that is why I think money can buy you happiness. So this is just another way to actually switch from for to against. But also remember, just because you're trying to make it like really special and attention seeking for the judge, you shouldn't make it in such a way that, like, the judge also doesn't know when you changed your sides, right? The judge should at least know that you have changed your side. So that's also very important. I hope this is clear. So Turncoat is just that simple. Let me just give you marking rubric for the Turncoat. So there are, again, it's 10, 10, 10. So you have equal weightage being given for all the three criteria. It's matter, manner, and method. Matter is what is the content that you're speaking. Did you research well for what you're speaking? Do you have philosophical arguments? Do you have logical arguments? Do you have statistics in your speech? Do you have examples? Do you have like reasoning in your speech? All of it is going to be seen, right? And whether whatever you're saying, is it actually relevant to the topic, or are you just like going out of the topic? The second is going to be manner, which is again for 10 minutes, 10 marks. Where your presentation, your eye contact, whether you're actually reading off the doc or you're just like actually confidently speaking, your expressions, your engagement, did you actually have rhetorical questions, your ethical conduct, all of it is going to be matter. Oh, okay, whoever is doing that, do not do that. That's really not good. So in case if you're doing all of it, that's also like bad because it's just against the ethical conduct. Okay, don't do that. Okay. Cool. Then method. So method is where your transition is going to be seen. So how well was your transition? Was it creative? Or did you actually speak for equal amount of time for both for and against? Did you give a good conclusion? All of it is going to be seen in method. So matter, manner, and method. This is going to be the 3M principle that you should always remember whenever you're going for a public speaking event. All right. This is, I think, largely it for Turncoat, but I'm going to give you the chance to actually ask me questions if you have any. But before, okay, I think there are a couple of questions. All right. Arsh, what's your doubt?
We should not read off a doc. So it's like we have to learn the speech completely and speak it.
Yes, you are supposed to at least have a good understanding of what your speech is and what the next point is going to be, but I understand that you're supposed to probably memorize 3 speeches, which is difficult. So probably try to like have a good understanding of your speech and have these small cards, right? So you can just have your cards and then just, for example, read that one sentence and then keep it and then remember what you were supposed to speak after that. So you can have like these small cards so that you're not completely reading it off, but it's actually seen that you have made your efforts and then tried to learn at least. So don't completely keep reading.
Okay, ma'am. And also in Turncoat, we're having 3 rounds. So for each round, the speech will be same or there will be 3 topics?
Because there are 3 topics, your speech would be different, right?
Okay, so the 3 topics will be given prior, right? Like today.
This is going to be given to you by 9:30 today.
Yeah, today. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Sankirt.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I didn't understand one thing. So when they give the topic for the first round, will it be the same thing for the second round also?
No, the topic is going to be different for each round.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, Shashwat.
I was just wanted to ask that are there going to any minus markings for being under time?
Under time, no. But if you're completely off time, yes. But if you're going overtime, yes.
Like if it's like 1 minute and if I do it 53 to 54 seconds, will there any be?
That's okay.
Okay.
Advik?
Ma'am, while giving a speech, how should we switch from for to against?
I think I already gave a couple of examples. Do you want me to repeat all of these examples or did you not? Or do you want me to switch to another example?
Ma'am, we should switch to another example.
Okay, I can give you another example. So for example, the topic is money cannot buy happiness. On 4, I'm saying 3 points, which is money cannot buy you happiness because of all these 3 reasons. And then when you're switching, you can be like, you know what, money, you know what, I actually think that money can buy you happiness because the fact that I'm doing this competition is through money, right? So it's also like one of the ways you can switch. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, Harshini.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You had mentioned prior to this that the time limit is 4 minutes, but then what would be the ideal time like that the judges would expect from a really good speaker?
4 minutes? They would try to see you like, I mean, I think 15 seconds prior, ending 15 seconds prior or 15 seconds after is okay. So I think if you are in that time frame, that's perfectly fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Amira.
All right. I had a similar doubt to one of the ones already spoken. But I wanted to know that okay, so there's 3 rounds. That means 3 speeches. So it would be kind of hard to memorize them. So I wanted to ask: is there like any like terrible like minus marking for like reading of a doc?
Reading completely, yes. I mean, try to make as much eye contact with the judges as possible. I've seen, I saw what like if you are like pretty experienced, I mean, there are ways how you can just have like cards around you, or you can just have it like stick like being stick in front of you. So I think you can probably do that. But yeah, I mean, don't try to read it like fully from doc. That's not okay.
Yeah, okay. Also, another question which is related to the semi-finalist round. So
Okay.
for that, I was informed that it was online, but you're saying that it's offline. So if I qualify, would I have to go to
Yes, you will have to go to.
All right.
Okay. Tripti, what's your doubt?
The total marks for this is 30, right?
Yes. But also you can get 30 because in the last finals, like qualifiers, we did have people who got 30 out of 30. So it's achievable score. Yeah. Harnik, what's your doubt?
Yeah, ma'am. So my doubt is, can we like switch, like first talk about for and then start about against, or vice versa?
No, vice versa. Start for and then against.
Okay.
Okay. Shashwat, what's your doubt? Darsh, what's your doubt? Okay, I'm guessing it was by mistake. All right, I will now take a quick trivia round for Turncoat people, and I'll stop sharing as of now. Okay, my first question is, what is the criteria for judgment of Turncoat? Just tell me the principle that I mentioned. Just put in the chat box. Okay, the principle is called 3M principle, and you all probably got it. The question that I have is that out of the 3 criteria that are actually given to you, which one is the most important in Turncoat? So to those who are saying matter or manner, it's wrong. All of them are equal and equally important, because remember the weightage for everything is 10, 10, 10. So all of them are equally important. The next question is, what is the structure of speech for Turncoat? Okay, that's correct. It is intro, for, against, and summary. Very good. And then the last question that I have, can I give a biased opinion or my own opinion in conclusion? Yes, the answer is no. So Turncoat students, I think you all understand the format. Unless and until there are any questions that you want me to address, then let me know. Okay, there are some questions. So we have 5 minutes to address Turncoat questions because then after that we'll start WSDC. Nora, what's your doubt?
I just have a question. So if we actually qualify for Turncoat or anything else, then are we going to, when we go for Bombay, if we go to Bombay, are we going to get the topic like there and then, or like 2 hours before, like a few
No,
days?
no, no. The topic for semi-finals is going to be prepared. So we're going to send you the topic at least like 2 to 3 days before.
Thank you.
Okay, Mudit?
I wanted to know that, like, is there a provision for warning bell and all, like after 6 minutes, like, is there something like?
I think you're in grade 12. I'll ask you to move to seniors category, but there is no provision for bell, but there's going to be chat box. So if you want, you can ask the judge to send you timestamps in the chat box, but please time yourself because I think you're well mature to time yourself.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Kashish.
Ma'am, can we use Google first to search for the content, or it should be of our own
Sure,
opinion?
you can use Google, you can use books, you can use research papers, anything is fine.
And ma'am, if it matches with the guy, then
that's how you're supposed to see. So in speech events, the biggest challenge is that you're even though you have similar access to resources, you're supposed to frame your content in such a way that it looks different. And the way how it's going to look different is the degree of research that you have done. So any person who has done more research would have a better speech than somebody who has probably just taken the first article and then spoken from that. So, okay, Neil?
Okay.
I'm sorry to give you this trouble, but you show the first 2 slides because I couldn't see that.
First 2 slides, okay, so it's going to be shared with you anyways after the class.
Okay.
Okay, Tripti.
So when will the topic be given for this?
9:30.
9:30. Okay.
Nitya.
I wanted to ask, what exactly do you have to tell in your intro? Do you have to just introduce the topic? Because that wouldn't be 30 seconds.
If you introduce the topic and you give some rhetorical statements or quotes, I think that will be 30 seconds. And you're just giving a background. So, I mean, all the speeches are essentially supposed to start with introduction anyways. So, yes, I mean, you can just like give an intro of, 20 seconds. 30 seconds is just like the time given for you. But yeah, that's how you can do it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, Pranav, do you have a question?
Oh, but sorry.
Okay. Darsh?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 questions. On the first one is that would we be given a warning bell like for every minute?
Yes. So you won't get a warning bell, but you would know if you are going completely your time. So your judge will say that you're too off topic or you're too like off time. So just stop speaking because after that, anyways, they're not listening to you.
Okay, ma'am. And another thing that what do we have to exactly do in the conclusion? Should we tell what do we think about the topic, or like what exactly do we have to tell in that?
Okay, for this question, because I've explained it too many times, I want somebody to take the initiative to answer that question. Does anyone want to?
Actually, I joined late. That's why I didn't.
Oh, okay. So anyways, we'll just know if any other people get the answer. Does anyone else want to answer that? Vihan, do you want to answer that question?
I joined later to for WSDC.
Okay. All right. Yashvi?
I had a question.
Okay, before that, Kashish, do you want to answer that?
I also have a question.
Everybody has a question. Nobody wants to answer.
What was the question? Can you repeat the question?
Puranji, go on. Answer the question.
So basically, you don't have you cannot speak your own opinion. Instead, you have to speak. You have to keep it very neutral towards both the sides, and you cannot go with your opinion. You have to keep it as neutral as you can.
All right, that was really good. Thank you so much. Okay. Next, we have Yashvi. What's your doubt?
Ma'am, so how did the winners of the previous qualifiers present their speeches? Like, did they like read from their documents?
No, most of them did not even read. Like they all remembered and by heart.
Like, how did they present themselves on the stage? Were they like moving around or sitting on there?
No, they weren't moving around. They were sitting. If you like sitting and like standing is not a criteria. So if you're sitting and you're still confident, that's okay. But I have judged people who like stand and then give their speeches because they are confident that way. So it's more towards what you are more confident in rather than like what judges.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Vihan.
Ma'am, we will, I have a doubt that we will, for Turncoat, we will have 3 rounds, so we have to prepare 3 different speeches or just one speech.
Yes, 3 different speeches. Okay, Nirjar. Okay. Yes.
Yes, so I have two things to say. I'm for Turncoat, so do I need to join tomorrow?
Tomorrow is a demo session for all formats, so all formats are supposed to join.
Okay, ma'am. And should I leave now?
Yes, you can. All Turncoat students who have their doubts being cleared, you guys can leave.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, no problem. Okay, Kashish.
Ma'am, how many students are really going to select?
I'm going to tell you that give your best, but it's going to be, I think, around top 3 to 4 people.
Is it from the particular school or overall?
No, it's not going to be on school. It's going to be overall in the category.
Okay.
Okay, Shashwat.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to know that the introduction that we have to give is gonna be in the context to the topic, like my name is XYZ and I'm gonna speak about XYZ, or we have to introduce about the topic.
No, it's on the top in the context of the topic. So whenever you introduce yourself, for example, when I say I'm Afreen and the topic is this, that isn't inclusive of the time. So you're doing it before the time. And then you say, my speech is going to start in 3, 2, 1, and then you.
So we are gonna get some time to introduce ourselves, right?
Yes, for sure. Yes. Okay. Puranjay.
I had a question regarding WSDC. Can I ask that?
Okay, afterwards. Okay,
Ma'am, I can hear everyone's voice being echoed.
I don't think it is the case. You should probably check your device, Sarah. Okay, Neil, last question for Turncoat, and then we'll start WSDC. Okay, no questions.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, do you have a question, Neil?
No, I don't have a question.
All right. Divyam.
Good morning, ma'am. No, good evening, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask if you found anything in particular good in the finalist which have been selected on 17th June.
I couldn't understand your question. Do you want to repeat it?
I wanted to ask if you found anything in particular good with the finalists from 17th June.
I would say that one is like extremely good confidence, because the fact that you are confident has a really, really good impact on the judges. So I think confidence is for sure the key. But secondly, I think the fact that you're very, very like impromptu. So even if you forget it, how did you like come back to your speech? I think that's really, really important. So that, but also like have a really good content. So try to have it crisp, short, but like on point. So that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Anshara.
Yes, miss. I wanted to ask that how many finalists will be there?
For each format and for each category, it's going to be around
for,
3 to
4. For Turncoat.
3 to 4. Okay, Yashvi, what's your doubt?
I understood that the conclusion has to be like neutral, but then for the introduction, do we start with the introduction for 4, or how do we give a background?
You're just giving a general background of the topic. So you can just like start with rhetorics, and your rhetorics necessarily don't have to be like towards one side or the other. So it's just like money cannot buy you happiness. And then you can just quote a speaker, and then you can just give a brief understanding of what money and what happiness mean in terms of philosophy. So I mean that could be the case. But yeah, I mean it's going to be more specific to the topics.
Or should it be like more towards the far side of the
No, I mean not necessarily, but if you want to do it that way, you can. Okay. Arush.
Yes, ma'am. When are we going to have the topic of the Turncoat?
All the topics are going to be given to you by 9, okay? 9:30.
Okay, no problem.
All right. We're now going to end the Turncoat session here, and then I'm going to start with WST.